Hello viewers, I'm your host Uzma Jafri with another episode of South Asia Focus. Let's begin the show with India, where Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe visited India to participate in the 12th India-Japan Annual Summit in Ahmedabad. In a warm event of reception, a cultural roadshow with participants from across the country was organized along the entire stretch from the airport to Gandhi Ashram. We have a report.
Defying all protocols, Prime Minister Narendra Modi with a large Indian delegation received Abe and his wife in Ahmedabad. The visiting dignitaries received a colourful welcome in India. The Japanese Premier and his wife, dressed in traditional Indian outfits, participated in a grand roadshow along with Modi. They were delighted with cultural performances showcasing diverse Indian culture and a crowd waving Japanese and Indian flags side by side as the convoy covered 9 kilometers distance to city's famous Sabarmati Ashram. The Japan Prime Minister also laid the foundation stone of the 500-kilometer-long high-speed rail link between the industrial city of Ahmedabad and India's financial hub Mumbai City, India's first bullet train project during his visit.
昨日私が空港に着いてそして街頭をずっと車でモディ首相と共に走った際地域の皆様から受けた大変な歓迎私は忘れることはないでしょう
Japan is providing 81% of the funding for the $16.9 billion project through a 50-year loan at 0.1% annual interest.
नेक्स्ट जनरेशन ग्रोथ वहीं पर होगी जहां हाई स्पीड कॉरिडोर होंगे साथियों किसी भी देश के विकास में ट्रांसपोर्ट सिस्टम अत्यंत महत्वपूर्ण भूमिका अदा करती है मैं जापान का फिर से बहुत बहुत आभार व्यक्त करता हूं जो इस प्रोजेक्ट के लिए तकनीक और आर्थिक मदद के साथ भारत के सहयोग के लिए आज हमारे साथ जुड़ा है आगे आया है
Both countries also signed as many as 15 MOUs in the field of science, trade, skill development, several sport exchange agreements, civil aviation and connectivity schemes. The two countries also strongly pitched for zero tolerance against terrorism and vowed to strengthen cooperation in order to tackle terrorist groups such as the Al-Qaeda, Lashkar-e-Taiba and Jaish-e-Mohammed.
On this occasion, I think we agreed to explore cooperation and exchanges between the Army and the Japan Ground Self-Defense Force and also between the our Air Force and the Japan Air Self-Defense Force, as well as with the Coast Guard.
Connected and a future in which Gujarat is a global manufacturing destination.
Meanwhile, Abe also addressed a business summit in western city of Gandhinagar, where he promised to develop industrial townships and manufacturing to help India in future development.
ぜひ日本式ものづくり学校に来てください。日本語を勉強してください。そして将来インドの発展を担う日系進出企業の一員になっていただきたい。
Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi also listed a number of initiatives taken by his government to improve business environment in the country and invited Japanese companies to work in India.
With the strength of our friendship and mutual trust, I invite more and more Japanese people and companies to come, live and work in India. I wish you success in your efforts. I assure you my support wherever it is required.
Japanese investment into India has surged in areas ranging from automotives to infrastructure in the remote northeast, making Tokyo its third largest foreign direct investor.
India-Japan relation is a perfect example of a technology leader and a giant market coming together to create a robust technology trade investment corridor for mutual benefit. Moving on, India and Afghanistan have moved further to strengthen bilateral ties. Afghan Foreign Minister Salahuddin Rabbani recently visited India to co-chair and hold delegation-level talks in Afghanistan's Strategic Partnership Council, in which two, besides reviewing the gamut of bilateral relations, had a comprehensive talk on terrorism in the region. We have a report.
Days after the United States declared its new Afghanistan policy, the Afghan Foreign Minister Salahuddin Rabbani visited New Delhi to hold Indo-Afghan Strategic Partnership Council meeting with his Indian counterpart Sushma Swaraj. The talks focused on strengthening cooperation across sectors including defense, security and connectivity. Swaraj said India will continue to stand shoulder to shoulder with people of Afghanistan, insisting that both countries remained united in overcoming challenges posed by cross-border militancy.
We remain united in overcoming the challenges posed by cross-border terrorism and safe havens and sanctuaries to both our countries.
The Indian Foreign Minister also said New Delhi will expedite development of Chabahar port in trilateral cooperation with Iran and will begin supply of wheat to Afghanistan in the coming weeks.
We are expediting the development of Chabahar port in trilateral cooperation with Iran. We will begin supply of wheat to Afghanistan in coming weeks through Chabahar port.
Afghanistan has repeatedly asked India to increase military assistance as it struggles to fight Afghan Taliban insurgents who have taken swaths of territory since most foreign troops left the country in late 2014.
We agreed to strengthen security cooperation between the two countries. India has further agreed to provide assistance for Afghan National Defense Forces. India offered support for the Afghan-owned and Afghan-led peace process, which aims at ending the years of imposed war and violence in Afghanistan.
Rabbani also called on Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi, who reiterated India's support to Afghanistan and its people, including humanitarian and development assistance in their efforts to build a peaceful and prosperous nation. The Afghan Foreign Minister, in an event, indirectly slammed Pakistan for its role in the growing violence inside Afghan territory and appealed to China to play a constructive role in bringing the peace and prosperity in the region.
China, as an important country in the region, as a strategic friend of Pakistan, is in a very good position to put some kind of pressure and to convince Pakistan to support peace and reconciliation in Afghanistan.
Afghanistan and India have repeatedly accused Pakistan of providing sanctuaries to terrorists, resulting in to hamper peace in the region and beyond. BRICS nations have issued a declaration calling Jaish-e-Mohammed and Lashkar-e-Taiba as terrorist organizations and sought actions from Pakistan.
India is one of Afghanistan's biggest allies in war against terror and promoting peace and development in the region. We are now joined by Qamar Agha, a defense analyst, to talk on the bilateral ties between the countries and the present situation in Afghanistan. Mr. Agha, what future do you see ahead for Afghanistan when major powers including US and India have vowed to support Afghanistan in its fight against Taliban?
You know, if these two major powers, India and United States, come together, a lot of problems can be solved. Problem of development, problem of militancy, economic rejuvenation of that state, a number of things could be solved. You know, India has been actively supported the development plan of Afghanistan. So coming together, you know, is a very strong force. But the problem is, you know, the problem is in Pakistan, not in Afghanistan. So that's a major problem. So no matter what you do in Afghanistan, you know, it is overdone by the forces of Afghanistan, by Taliban or other militant groups which are operating. So the need is to put pressure on Pakistan. I don't believe, you know, that Afghanistan, you know, is a part of the problem. All the problem is coming from across the border.
Afghanistan has sought support from China by asking it to help in demolishing sanctuaries in Pakistan. Do you think China will assertively act for the cause?
They are indirectly or directly, I don't know, encouraging Pakistan to take all these anti-India, anti-Afghan activities with the help of these militants. With the help, Chinese policy is to gain access in Afghanistan with the help of Pakistan, and Pakistan has nefarious design. So I don't think China will help, or put enough pressure on Pakistan to close down these sanctuaries. They are part of the problem. They will not, and Pakistan will not listen to them as well.
Thank you, Mr. Agha, for your views. Violence continues to hamper peace and development in Afghanistan. Recently, a suicide bomber blew himself up at a checkpoint near a cricket stadium in Kabul when a match was underway. We have a report.
A suicide bomber detonated his explosive vest at a checkpoint outside a cricket stadium in Kabul while a T20 match was underway. 3 people, including 2 policemen and a civilian, were killed and 7 others injured in the attack. Initial reports had said the explosion occurred at one of the gates of the stadium, but officials later clarified that the bomber had blown himself up near a checkpoint. The match was stopped immediately after the blast. The league is a professional T20 series that was started in 2013. Officials also said all players participating in the cricket league match and the spectators were safe.
در این ساحه دست به حمله انتحاری میزنه. گزارش که ما داریم تا اکنون 3 نفر شهید است، شامل 1 پلیس و 2 ملکی و 5 نفر مجروح که در بینشان 2 پلیس شامل است.
No one claimed to be behind the bombing as yet, but both the Taliban and Islamic State have carried out previous similar attacks. Cricket was banned in Afghanistan during the Taliban's rule between 1996 and 2001.
Cricket is seeing a revival in Afghanistan years after it was banned under the Taliban. The national team is also taking giant strides to become a competitive international side. Moving on. We now talk about the growing resentment and dissent among the Sindhi and Baloch people. They have been raising protests against Pakistan Army and ISI for carrying out atrocities against the innocent civilians. We have a report.
Stop disappearing! Sindhi people! Pakistan is stop disappearing! Baloch people! Pakistan is stop killing!
Raising anti-Pakistan slogans outside 10 Downing Street in London. These protesters demand justice for hundreds of political activists abducted by Pakistani agencies in Sindh and Balochistan. The demonstration, organized by World Sindhi Congress, was attended by human rights defenders who blamed Islamabad for turning a deaf ear to the issue. Rise in abductions and killing of political activists in Sindh, allegedly by security forces, has shocked one and all.
Those people who want their rights, who don't want to die because of poverty and malnutrition, who don't want their lands to be taken away, who don't want the CPAC to be built. And everybody who wants to raise this voice, this is unprecedented in the history of Sindh and Balochistan, the number of abductions, number of enforced disappearances that are being carried in Pakistan now. Even throughout, look at the world, Pakistan is #1 in enforced disappearances.
In Pakistan, estimates of enforced disappearance cases range from 1,256 to more than 18,000. Most of these cases have been reportedly from the federally administered tribal areas FATA, Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, Balochistan and Sindh provinces. Political activists, journalists and other intellectuals who have been raising the issue of human rights violations by Pakistan remain the prime targets.
I want to say that Pakistan is the father of the terrorists around the globe, and we global have to raise our voice against the terrorists, against the occupation, against all those torture. Today in the sand of Balochistan, they abducted our children, or women, or elderly, and put the bodies on the street and rapes our sisters and mothers. So we have to be together to stop this creature.
Pakistan is a terrorist state, and Pakistani ISI is the terrorist organization. And in Sindh, in Balochistan, the Pakistani security forces abducting innocent civilians and taking them to their torture cell, torture them and dump their body all over Sindh and Balochistan. So we are here to requesting the international community, United Kingdom, to intervene, stop this terrorist country.
A recent report published by the International Commission of Jurists says the practice of enforced disappearance in Pakistan is no longer restricted to conflict zones alone. It has become a tactic for suppressing dissenting voices wherever they are present.
The ICJ study notes that South Asia has the highest number of credible and unresolved cases of enforced disappearances in the world. Moving on to Bangladesh, where over 400,000 Rohingya escaping the violence in Myanmar have streamed into the country. United Nations, calling it a humanitarian crisis, has urged all countries to provide aid and assistance to the refugees. We have a report.
Hundreds of tents have been pitched in and 8,000 to 10,000 people are living in an area which used to be a paddy field only a few days ago. Thousands of Rohingya Muslims from villages near the border with Bangladesh fled the violence in the Rakhine state of Myanmar after a crackdown was launched by security forces in response to militant attacks.
You can see from here, as I said, there was no habitation before 7 to 8 days. Now habitation is going towards north. People are coming in numbers. They are in the open sky. They have erected temporary shelter and they are staying here in the no man's land.
Bangladesh Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina visited Cox's Bazar to study the worsening humanitarian situation after hundreds of thousands crossed the border to escape the crackdown launched by the Myanmar security forces. Hasina said Myanmar should set up safe zones to enable the refugees to go home. Myanmar has said those who can verify their citizenship can return, but most Rohingya are stateless.
And also I condemn those who are responsible for that. As you know that the Myanmar army was under attack, border police was under attack, and about 135 people died. So those people who attacked the army and the border guard, actually they instigate this situation. So they should stop it. And side by side, Myanmar government, they should have handled this situation patiently. They should not have allowed the army or their law enforcement agency to attack the common people. What is the crime of the children or women or the innocent people?
The exodus of Muslim Rohingya to Bangladesh began on August 25 after Rohingya militants attacked about 30 police posts and an army camp. The attacks triggered a sweeping military counter-offensive by security forces in Buddhist-majority Myanmar, which the UN Rights Agency said was a textbook example of ethnic cleansing.
We have an emergency within an emergency. Right. So to put it in one word, we all have to ramp up our response massively, massively. From food to shelter to the thousands of children that you see here, to the mothers, to getting people onto a path where they then start to reclaim the essentials of life. That, in a word, ramping up our response is why we have come here with my colleague from IOM.
But Buddhist-majority Myanmar says its forces are fighting a legitimate campaign against militants it blames for the attacks on them and for burning homes and civilian deaths.
Government of India has launched Operation Insaniyat to extend assistance to the Bangladeshi government in order to help the affected people. Moving on. India has had a golden history of handloom industry, and it has seen various historical and political transitions in its course of development. And now, when there has been a decline in the production and lesser number of people taking up handloom as career option, government as well as private entities are making tireless efforts in order to revive and thrive the industry. A fashion event was recently organized in the Indian state of Manipur to support the cause. We have a report.
Weaving over years has played a significant role in enhancing socio-economic condition of people. However, a sweeping decline in the production has been witnessed in the recent history owing to people losing their interest in the handloom. In a bid to revive the deteriorating indigenous handloom culture and promote trendy traditional outfits, fashion designer Robert Naram recently organized a mega fashion parade titled Ningthem Chare, which translates to Winter Fall, in the capital city of Indian state of Manipur. Divas from across the country sashed down the ramp, showcasing traditionally rich hand-woven Manipuri outfits like Phanek, Inafi and many other.
This is basically, the show is completely a dedication to the people of Manipur, and when you see that our handloom and textile is going nowhere and it's losing its market, and all the other fabrics which is coming and replacing our traditional fabrics in the market. So I think that to keep that people aware and making it a trend and bringing up it to the market, we need to do like a fashion ramp and runway wherein all these youths will get inspired and motivated and get into the fashion. And when traditional and culture and handloom becomes a trend into fashion, I hope definitely the market would increase.
Although Indian handloom, especially from the northeast states, has received a worldwide recognition, the industry has hit a stagnant phase due to a number of reasons, including the influences of the high-end peppy fashion trends. The fashion show came across as a great platform to promote the handloom and textiles and supporting the cause of weavers. Top models and celebrities including Mugdha Godse walked down the ramp showcasing the outfits made of traditional fabric.
And as for the traditional attire that you've mentioned, I think it's a very great opportunity for us. And also, apart from the dresses, we are getting to work with many renowned supermodels from outside, from Mumbai, from other places of India. So it's a very good chance for us. It is very much important and it is very much necessary because we need to know how they work, how they do things, so that we can catch up to them. So it's very, very important, I think.
Miss India Universe 2014 Noyonita Lod, Bollywood actors Bruna Abdullah and Abrar Zahoor set the ramp on fire as they strutted down adorning traditional wares of the state. Fashion designers who participated for the first time have now vowed to use the Manipuri handloom as part of their collections. Organizing such fashion show will serve as a great platform to create awareness and preserve the dying traditional handloom industry of the country.
Handloom forms a part of the heritage of India and exemplifies the richness and diversity of our country and the artistry of the weavers. With that, we come to the end of this week's episode. See you next week. Goodbye and take care.